Hey guys, it's me Parker. Welcome to my channel. This is sign readings for the week of August 10th to August 16th. And yeah, the energy's good today. Yesterday was a little funky. I don't know if any of you guys noticed that, but yesterday it was like, ooh, the readings were like intense. But today feels good. Today feels a lot better. I don't know what sign I'm doing yet. Taurus. Hello. Hi, Taurus. Your your ruler moved 3 days ago out of Gemini, and it was in Gemini for a long time, since the beginning of April. And Venus, doesn't sit typically that long in a sign, maybe 3 weeks to 2 months. Like it's a pretty fast moving planet. It is our divine feminine. Taurians are very sensual and, connected to Gaia in that way, especially as the youngest earth sign. I hope you guys have been doing okay. I did forget to mention in the last Taurus reading that I did, you guys are quite heavily affected right now between the full moon in Aquarius, which happened on the 3rd, which Uranus, Aquarius's ruler, was sitting in your sign, and I believe that was squaring the full moon. So intense energy. There's a lot of water energy, which, Taurians don't really like to get too feelsy. They can be very loving. They are Venus. Don't get me wrong, but they are also very practical. Very practical and stable, right? Whereas emotions are kind of like, right? Loosey goosey. So yeah, I hope you guys are doing okay with all this water, feelsy ass energy, and your ruler finally moving. It's been stable. Like I said, you guys like to be stable. So on top of that very fluid, like, mucky, like watery energy, getting muddy in your feels, your ruler was very stable in that energy. I mean, it was retrograde, but it moved out of retrograde like a while ago, and yeah, it was sitting there for a while. So I'm sure you guys probably felt quite a big push. You were probably feeling that change coming on for the last little bit, at least I would imagine. And then, with that Aquarius full moon aspecting its ruler in your sign, it's been like a lot for you guys to handle, to be honest, particularly if you have an Aquarius full moon. Holy crap. Or heavy Aquarius or Cancer in your chart, or Gemini even. Gemini. That's funny. You could be a cusper. That's funny. So, messages for Taurus. Let's see what's up with my bulls today. Sexy Taurians. Taurians are... Venusian signs in general are very sexy. Librans as well. They're Venus. You can't not love Venus. It's the planet of love. Right, okay, that one wants to come out. 4 of Swords, okay. That's healing. That's sitting in meditation. Can be taking a break. Can be like healing and meditation, taking a break or a vacation. We'll see why that's coming out. Can be also seeing something in a new perspective. Let's see what's going on. That is one of the strangest freaking messages I think I've ever had in a reading. I just looked down at this and I was like, Poppy, and then I was like, remembering, like Remembrance Day. I mean, with that 4 of Swords energy, that can talk to healing after a period of what felt like war. Or it can be like remembering something, like very on a deep level, like a soul level almost, like a trigger or something from even past life. Because I saw the 6 of Cups immediately before I heard that. That's like the strangest, I probably we'll say 3 strangest things that have jumped out, like I've heard in a reading. That's very strange. So yeah, it's definitely either relating to healing, or taking a break, stepping down, stepping back after a period of war, or like taking a vacation. Sorry, my nails are shit. I'm aware of that. It is what it is. I just keep pointing it out because it's bothering me, but whatever. Hopefully you guys don't care. Or it's like remembering something on a soul level, like even speaking to like past life, or like, being triggered, like a soul activation, like meeting someone and it's like activating like frequencies for you or something. There's that Aquarian energy. Strange. Just reading is like very like, whew, alrighty. Alright. Taurians. We'll do 3 more shuffles. I keep seeing Justice. That is your sister Venusian sign. There's a lot of justice coming into play right now, as we're hashing out energies. Especially like this can be like a very isolated energy, with all the isolation that's going on, especially with retrograde. People are really having to sit in long-standing energies that, where there was no justice is coming into play, or people are moving on from being, bound to unjust situations or people or desires, or, we're letting a lot of that go through this kind of meditation and looking within energy, healing, taking a break. Interesting. But yeah, justice. Maybe you're creating your own justice here. We'll do one more shuffle for Taurus. 9 of Cups, wish fulfillment, that's been coming out for everyone. But yeah, with that Aquarian full moon that was aspecting its ruler in your sign, there is a lot of, it's the sign of humanitarianism, but also innovation, like going against the mold, right? So a lot of rapid change, and a lot of that has to do with bringing justice into unjustified situations, but that also could just be referring to Venus. Like, it is also a Venusian sign, or you could be dealing with a Libra, or have Libra in your chart, or someone around you that you're dealing with does, or Libra season is playing into retrograde as well, with Jupiter moving out of retrograde just before Libra season, so it could be referring to Libra season. Lots of things it could be referring to, but justice has been coming out in all the readings as well. So whatever that means to you, the first situation that comes to mind when you think of justice could very well be what this reading is about. Taurus, 7 of Cups. These two together is like taking a step back to really think about something, because this is like confusion, too many options, like taking a step back to either settle your mind, come back into balance with that Libra, balancing the scales energy, coming back into balance after a period of being very overwhelmed or out of balance, or, this is like a lot of options and confusion, and can be like fantasizing too. You could be like sitting in fantasy land. Or with that remembering energy too, from that progression from the 6 to the 7, this might not be connected to this energy at all, but it could be throwing you for a loop here, or it could be switching up the game, what you're setting your sights to. There's a lot more options now, or it can be a manifestation energy as well. I'm actually seeing those two together, so we'll see what comes out. Taurus. Whoa, okay. Too many. Queen of Swords. This has been coming out for everybody. It is that, it's air energy. Feminine, man or woman. It's just the energy that they're acting out of. We can be a man and be way more dominant, like comfortable sitting in our receiving, nurturing feminine, like an effeminate guy. There's nothing wrong with that. Or, you can be a woman and be very dominant and assertive and, quite frankly, scary to masculine dominant men, but that's like very like old paradigm way of looking at it. But it's just an example of, these are just energies coming out. Gender is a label that we have attributed to those inherent energies on this plane. But that's been coming out for everyone, especially with this justice coming into play. That is the sort of truth. It can be Libran energy. Can also be Aquarius, speaking to that full moon that just happened a few days ago. We will be in that energy. It's pittering out, but it's still very strong right now, and we'll still be in that energy for at least another week or two, a few weeks. Ooh, okay. This speaks of an opportunity here. Speaks of an opportunity, either missing one, not seeing one, rejecting one. It can be an energy of rejection. So we'll see what that's all about. With that remembrance, you may be getting heavily triggered right now by abandonment issues. If so, please watch the Aquarius reading from a couple weeks ago called Working Through Abandonment Issues. I actually didn't even think of this until I remembered just now that reading was Aquarius, very much so speaking to this full moon energy that we're in. And that reading was all about working through abandonment issues. And in that reading, I talked about watching a video by a reader named Balmy Spirit Water Baby on YouTube. And she talks about Chiron in retrograde. There's a lot of this rejection, abandonment issue stuff that's coming up to play. During this Chiron retrograde. Chiron is like the wounded warrior of the zodiac energy. So a lot of that's being triggered. I'm definitely feeling this in that this reading. With that remembering energy, it could even be past life. Or with this Aquarius energy, it's very much a rebel. It's like they're very unique, but they do them, right? Like they don't really cater to anybody else. That's why they kind of tend to go off on their own. And if that's happening right now, if a lot of this is being triggered through these energies aspecting you guys so intensely, there may be a touch of, some rejection going on around you or to someone or you're rejecting someone and it's making someone really take a seat and try and recover mentally from some confusion. We're trying to figure out what that means. So let's get one more. Okay. Really looking at something, I'm actually seeing that as this because, again, this is healing, like sitting in meditation, coming into a balanced mental state after a very confusing or tumultuous or painful situation. And this is confusion. It can be like fantasy, like with this, it's like again, like the illusion of something is you're trying to work through what something means here and figure it out. This is an energy of looking at something. Can also be honest communication as well. So we'll look at that page on his own, although I'm just seeing it as you guys in this Four of Swords, kind of isolated, healing, or, balancing out your understanding of a situation here. So let's look at that page. Yeah. 3 to the 4, that's that healing after that painful, confusing. Again, it could have been like you're like I just heard that Eminem line, snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. And this is totally like sitting, like it's literally someone sitting cross-legged on the ground, like snap back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Like, what did I say? The illusion's been shattered. And it very painful, burdensome, couldn't sleep at night, very fucked up energy there, big time. But the illusion's being shattered, and this is, again, mental balance and clarity, and looky here, clarity and the sword of truth with justice, major balance here. Clarity could be coming by way of communication, or you could be moving finally when you snap back to reality and gravity sets in and you're back in motion here. This could be you coming forward, like I said, creating your own justice here, due to this like really messed up energy here. But it is coming in, and we saw that too. Like, these are heavy hitting cards of that sort of truth. Like, it's not just like, like a Knight of Swords coming in. I mean, this is like communication, but like justice and the Court card for the Sword of Truth and the actual Sword of Truth. So major truth coming in here, breaking this confusion energy. And you guys, it could have to do with this like healing that you're doing, right? It could be very intentional, taking a break, taking a step back from something, possibly rejecting something. But this to me is speaking about maybe abandonment. That could be the reality that's setting in here, is somebody's rejecting an opportunity, or you feel rejected or abandoned by someone, and you're being forced into like in this isolated energy to let the House of Cards come down here. Again, this also could have been something like from the past, because with this Three of Swords, I also do get very dusty energy. This could have been something from your past, even a past life that's coming up, because it's a block in your life. It's a pattern. It's a loop a program loop that you tend to run out of that rejection energy that you've dealt with. That might be a pattern for you of getting lost in the fantasy of something. All right, Taurians, I am seeing this as you, though. So we'll look at that page. We'll see what's up with that page. I'm going to use my descriptive deck. Yeah, Taurus. That's your major. Spiritual organizations. Seek out mentors, and like with the spiritual organization, I'm also almost getting, what's that? Asylum, like seeking asylum, like that, isolated, like being like forced to potentially through trigger of abandonment or rejection, being forced to like really look at something, recalibrate your mind here. This whole reading is about programming, mental programming, and breaking illusions that you have built maybe your entire life around. If that's a pattern in your life of constantly having the rug pulled out from underneath you, snap back to reality moments, being sucked back down by gravity, I'm getting like asylum with that Hierophant. It's strange. Seeking asylum, taking a step back from this situation, or it's just like taking a break from the confusion, whether you're being put into that space and that sort of truth is coming in at some point, because of this forced isolation, or you're actually taking a step back from something because you're realizing that it was a fantasy. Non-realistic here. Whoa, okay. Alrighty. Spending quiet time alone. Earth energy, I'm seeing that as you guys. Wow, the 2 9s. And there's that balance, right? Coming into balance. The need for balance and moderation. Wait for perfect timing. Again, that like isolated energy and timing, like some of this is very deep, like spanning like lifetimes for you, where it's like a pattern, a karmic pattern that you have been working on throughout lifetimes, or just programming even from childhood. Programming can very simply be like, science, this is not like hooey shit. Like, we are aware that we form neural pathways in childhood, right? So we're talking about programming. This whole reading is about breaking from programming of illusion and confusion, abandonment, I heard deception, abandonment, rejection, or passing up opportunities because you're too fucking stuck in la la land. You're up in the clouds. You're not being realistic. There's definitely a sense of unrealistic expectations, or acting, like there's a need to come back down to gravity here, with being realistic, and in that space, like reforming how you react to situations like this, or how you manifest them, realizing that you've been manifesting these situations. That's why they keep happening to you. Concerns fade away. So coming back to no longer being confused, being content, very content, and better than content. It's like very it's like comfort, like even more than comfortable. It's like wishes come true, you know, like no longer. It's like with your fantasy, it's like this isn't a fantasy anymore. That's actually your reality, is that contentment and joy and peace that you've been seeking in these situations that were just abandonment triggers or manifested out of abandonment, or you were doing that to people because you were up in the clouds and running completely off of programming. Yeah, spending quiet time alone, life's little luxuries, right? Getting back to basics, back down to earth. The moon, events behind the scenes, release fears that hold you back. So that to me, this is the subconscious and things unseen. That to me is talking about this programming, right? You've been running on this programming, you know, yeah, but kind of seeing it though, like the page is taking a look, right? Like you sees it, it's like new ideas. Literally, the page of coins is the card of new ideas and perspectives. This to me is totally talking about reprogramming your subconscious. Maybe some of this is very deep, like spanning lifetimes. You know your situation, right? 5 of Cups. So again, that abandonment. So progression 4 to the 5, right? This is coming out, like it came out on its own, but I'm seeing it with this page here. New perspectives, new rewriting that programming. And it's Pentacles, so it's very tangible. The brain, starting there, we can actually get addicted to, and I'll be talking about this in a series at some point, but like people think like spirituality is like, oh, it's so hooey and reprogramming DNA and blah blah blah. It's like, no, actually, like, okay, yes, it sounds hooey to have like DNA upgrades and shit from spirit, but like actually science has been able to prove that you can alter generational DNA through exposing rats to different environments and behaviors, right? Because when we react out of fight or flight or this programming, our brain, again, those neural pathways that we're operating out of, which we can reprogram, it feeds into our chemical releases into our body. We can alchemize our bodies and our minds through changing our reactions. Stop not running on the reframing our perspective, new ideas, new neural pathways, and we can change generational DNA that way. That's why things like generational trauma, this programming is passed down through generations, especially those that were exposed to very intense generational traumas. Like, I'm not going to get into that, but you can use your imagination on that one. We know what generational trauma looks like. There's a lot of examples of that. And if you don't know what I'm talking about or have any empathy for that, feel free to click off my channel. Just saying. Yeah, it's not hooey. Like, most of this stuff has already been proven by science, right? So that's what we're talking about when we talk about reprogramming DNA, reprogramming running on these program loops. It's so autonomous, right? Some of it's generational, some of it is learned through behavior, through brain chemical releases. As we react out of that programming, we can become addicted to being a narcissist and the rush that we get of brain chemicals when we do this to people, right? It's just programming. We by changing that programming, we can actually alchemize from the brain, our bodies inside out, our vibration, our frequency. That's what we mean a lot of the time when we talk about. There's a lot of things that contribute to that, but on a very scientific level, we can alchemize our frequency and vibration by breaking down these sometimes generational, built up over lifetime chemical dependencies on a purely physical level, or learned behavioral pattern loops that exist because we developed neural pathways somewhere along the line that rewarded us for being a dick or rejecting people out of our own abandonment issues, right? Some of that is very deep standing. So it's a very interesting reading. I actually wish that this had been a collective reading, because I just basically just went on a huge tangent about something that I'll be doing, videos about. Think things through carefully. This knight rushes in, he rushes out, he acts on a whim, he's very courageous, he is adventurous, spontaneous, passionate, self-assured, restless, acting out of programming. Think carefully. It's literally talking about not acting out of programming. Restless, but it's telling you in the card itself, think carefully, reframe your programming here. So again, with this rejection energy, and abandonment issues coming into play here. If this is you doing this to other people, look at why. Is that just a defense mechanism? When did that start? Was your family like this? Was this a learned behavior? Or, if you're always being abandoned by other people, why are you manifesting that into your life? Is it because you're living in a fucking sorry, I'm not trying to be rude. Sometimes I've noticed I can be like really like frustrated, and it just frustrates me when I see people succumbing to this kind of, and trust me, I've been there. Sometimes I act out of my tendencies too, but this is definitely a call to get back to reality and like actually like thinking things through carefully instead of acting out of programming to, reframe those program loops. All right, guys?